Okay. Assalamu alaikum. How is everybody doing? I hope everybody's fine and enjoying the snow. If you're in the UK, if you're not in the UK, you're missing out. So, inshallah, today we're gonna start further study on where we left last time. So I hope every one of you got a chance to review what you did in the project and what we did in the class, inshallah ta'ala. And if you have done it, you should have a good idea on where we stand and how we could potentially approach the project. It is less important what mistakes you have done, if there are gaps in what you have done as your final project and what we have discussed in the class. That's absolutely fine. As far as you're able to identify those core concepts that we have in the Arabic language, the jar majroors, the mawsuf sifas and the jumla ismiyas and jumla fi'liyas, you're able to differentiate between the ism and the fi'il and so on. If you're able to do all of that, then I think it's okay to go forward like that. What we will do today is, inshallah, we will continue our project review, and we try to conclude our project review today. So we are all set with the project, and from tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala, we'll start discussing some new topics that we haven't covered in the level 1. So stay with me, inshallah. I'll share my screen with you, and then we quickly start the class. Let me share my screen with you. Give me a second, please. Okay. So you have to tell me, or I have to assume that everything is fine and you are able to see my screen. You're able to see my screen. If you're not able to see my screen, please also tell me. You can drop me a message on WhatsApp, and inshallah, I will keep an eye on it. And as soon as I receive your messages, I'll try to answer them as much as I can. Okay. So if you see my screen, let's start, inshallah. Okay, so where we left last time was we did the first 3 ayahs of Surah Qadr, and we went quite intensively in detail in the Surah Qadr what we did, and I hope you got a chance to review it and you understood what we were doing. As far as you understood all of this, that's fine, and I think that's something which is important for you at this stage. You should be able to understand as we discuss things. If you are having difficulties in understanding these concepts, then I advise you to go back to your recordings, listen to your recordings, and make sure that you are up to speed and are able to get back here and understand what we are talking about. That's why the recordings are there. So please make use of them as much as possible. We have no plans to take them down. They will be there like that, inshallah ta'ala, unless something drastically different happens. Google shuts down, or we just are not allowed to put them anymore. I don't know, but we as Albayaan do not have any intention to take them down, and we expect that they should be available to you throughout your lifetime, inshallah ta'ala. So let's start, inshallah. So where we left last time was we did that at the beginning of the surah Qadr. So let's start, inshallah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Amin. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Amin ya Rabbil Alameen. So what we did was, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr, wa ma adraka ma laylatul qadr, laylatul qadri khairum min alfi shahr. That's what we did last time. Okay. Now what we want to do is start the next one. Tanazzalu malaikatuhu. وَالرُّوحُ. Now look at this one. Just let's be very logical about this. So when we look at the word tanazzalu, I'm just looking at the word tanazzalu here right now. This word tanazzalu. So when I look at the word tanazzalu, if I know the present tense fi'il chart, I would easily be able to map it to it. I would say, okay, it starts with a ta. It starts with a ta. Oop, it's too thick. Sorry. Let me just zoom up. Wait a second, please. Okay. Yeah. So what I'm able to do is I'm able to identify the beginning. It starts with a ta. I think my son has done something to the iPad. Wait a second. Let me just remove the thickness. Bear with me. Yes. Now look at this. Okay. That's better. Even smaller. You make it one. Okay. That's better. Good. Sorry about that. So my little one comes in a while and it takes control of the iPad and does all the magic. Good. So, okay, tanazzalu. So as soon as I see tanazzalu, I can map it to the present tense chart by saying it starts with a ta and ends with a u. Starts with a ta and ends with a u. Okay, tanazzalu. Can I map it to a fail in the present tense chart somewhere? If you remember your present tense chart, it was nasara, it was yansuru, sorry, in the present tense chart, it was yansuru, yansurani, yansuruna, tansuru. If you remember, tansuru. And it was a hiya version. It was a hiya version. And because it was a hiya version, it starts with a ta and ends with an u. However, we also have an anta version. If you remember in your present tense chart, we had an anta version. I think I have that open here for you. If you remember this, so we had anta version and also the hiya version, both starting with a ta and ending with an u. And that was something exactly the same. And we said we're going to differentiate between them as we go and we see the context. So the context will help us understand if something is a hiya or anta. Okay, so in this case as well, our context is going to understand. Now there are two possibilities. At this stage, there are two possibilities. One possibility is that it is a hiya version, and the other possibility is it's an anta version. So let me assume, let me not decide there. The two possibilities is hiya and anta. Okay, these are the two possibilities because they look the same. They look the same in the present tense. So we take this and we move forward. Okay, but I definitely know it's a fail. It's a fail, and it's the beginning of a jumla fi'liya. It's the beginning of the jumla fi'liya. The file I have to find out. Is it hiya version or is it anta version? So right now I can see that it could be any of the two. Okay. Now let me see the context around it. I move forward. Say, okay, I find al-malaikatu, which is what type of word? Is it an ism or fi'il? It has an al attached to it. As soon as you see this al attached to it, you say it's an ism. It's an ism. Okay, you with me? It's an ism because there's an al attached to it. And it cannot have a tanween because of the al as well. So it is malaikatu. It cannot be al-malaikatun. It can't be that. It will always be al-malaikatu. Okay, so now we see this ism in the rafa. And I know that as soon as the jumla fi'liya starts, the ism normally, which is a maf'ul, is in nasab status, not rafa status. But at the same time, I know an outside doer can be in the rafa state, right? So tanazzalu, if it is a hiya form, al-malaikatu is the outside doer. Because in the case of anta, if I say tanazzalu is anta, then what is the reason for al-malaikatu to be rafa? because it cannot be outside doer with anta. It just can't be outside doer with anta. It can be an outside doer with here, right? So anta is not a possibility here because al-malaikatu is rafa, and I need to justify its rafa status. The only way I can justify its rafa status is by saying that tanazzalu is a here version and al-malaikatu is rafa and therefore an outside doer. So al-malaikatu becomes a fa'il. It is my fa'il. Okay, al-malaikatu is my fa'il, which is outside door. And I strike the anta. I say, no, you're not this one. It's a here version. Tanazzalu is here version. Okay, so this is the here version. So it's the beginning of jumla fi'liya, and I found the fi'il, which is tanazzalu, and I found the fa'il, which is al-malaikatu, and I go forward. When I go forward, I find warruhu. Wa is a connector. How do I know it's a connector? I know it's a connector because ruhu is not jar. It is not jar. It is rafa. Okay. If it was not a connector, if it was a harf of jar, ruhu would be jar. Right? It would be ruhi. So I know it's a connector, and when I know it's a connector, I can't separate it from the al-malaikat. I just can't separate it because it's a connector. And because I can't separate it, and I know it's also rafa, so this whole thing becomes my file. This whole thing becomes my file. Al-malaikatu war-ruhu. Okay? Al-malaikatu war-ruhu. The malaika and the ruhu, the angels and the souls, are sent down. Okay? Descend. They descend. Angels and the souls descend. Okay, so these two are the files together. And tanazzalu is a fail. It's a jumla fi'liya. Okay? Moving forward. Fiha. Then we fear. And remember the context. We're talking about the night of the power. Laylatul Qadr. Allah is telling us what is Laylatul Qadr. In the beginning, Allah said, we send it down in Laylatul Qadr. He's talking about the Quran. And what do you know what is Laylatul Qadr? وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا Laylatul Qadr. Yeah, then Allah is telling us what is Laylatul Qadr. Laylatul Qadr khayrun min alfi shahr. It is a night that is better than thousands of months. Okay? And it's better than thousands of months. Okay? And then, following that context, Allah is telling us the angels and the souls descend down. They descend in this month. Okay? They descend, and He's saying, Fiha. Fiha is what? Do you know what is Fiha? Fiha is a jar majroor. It's a harf of jar. It's fi and ha. Ha is the attached pronoun of hiya. It's a harf of jar fragment. So when a harf of jar fragment comes in a jumla fi'liya, what does it become? When a harf of jar fragment comes in a jumla fi'liya, it becomes MBF, muta'alliq bil fi'l. You understand? Sphere is a muta'alliq bil fi'l for tanazzalu. Okay? So the angels and the souls descend in it. Bi-izni. Now we find bi-izni again. Okay, so what is this bi-izni? Bi-izni is again a harf of jar. How do I know? This is bi and izni. With permission. With permission. Izni is permission. Bi-izni. Jar majroor. And then we take izni, which is a light ism. It's a light ism. Okay, and Rabbi, we start to find this connection. Light, no, al followed by jar. Rabbi is jar. You see that? This fragment? So this thing becomes your idafa. This is your idafa. While only this part is your jar majroor. Harf of jar. Okay? So with permission of master. with permission of the master. Okay. How do I know who's master? Him. So then I'd look at Rabbi him. Be him. Okay. Now this him is an attached pronoun of whom. Okay. You know that it's an attached pronoun of whom. So it's Rabbi is light, no al followed by jar. So him is a jar. So this is another idafa. This is another idafa. You see that? So now there is an off relationship here. There is an off relationship here. Between Bi'izni and Rabbi, there is an off relationship. And between Rabbi and him, there is an off relationship because they both are idafas. So if I combine everything together, fiha, in it, Bi'izni, with permission, Izni Rabbi, with permission of the master, Rabbihim, Bi'izni Rabbihim, with the permission of their master. Of their master. Okay, so the angels and the souls descend in it with the permission of their master. Okay, understand? Now, because the izni was jar majroor, this part, the izni was jar majroor, and it is connected to and izni is connected to Rabbi, and Rabbi is connected to him. I can't separate this entire thing. I have to keep it because it's all connected. So this entire thing becomes my muta'alliq bil fi'l. This is my muta'alliq bil fi'l because of the jar majroor in the beginning. So this is my muta'alliq bil fi'l for the tanazzul in the jumla fi'liya in the same context. Okay? Good. Then we go forward. So min kulli amri. Min kulli. Min is harf of jar. Kulli is majroor, which is in jar status. Min kulli again is harf of jar. It's harf of jar. Okay. This is harf of jar. Min kulli. Okay. And kulli amri. Kulli is light, no al. Kulli is light, no al. And it's followed by jar. It's followed by jar. Okay. So this becomes an idafa. This is an idafa. Okay. Now, min kulli is harf of jar. Min has connection to kulli. Kulli has connection to amrin. Amrin. So I can't separate them. So this entire thing becomes my muta'alliq bil fi'l. This entire thing becomes my muta'alliq bil fi'l. You understand? Good. So this was the entire Jumla Ismiya. In this Jumla Ismiya, oh sorry, not Jumla Ismiya, Jumla Fi'liya, excuse me, there is no maf'ul that you see, right? There is no maf'ul. There is a fa'il, which is tanazzalu. There is a fa'il, which is al-malaikatu war-ruhu. And then you find fiha bi-izni rabbihim. Fiha was your first muta'alliq bil-fa'il. Bi-izni rabbihim was your second muta'alliq bil-fa'il. Min kulli amrin was your third muta'alliq bil-fa'il. Okay? Okay, good. Salamun, last ayah, inshallah. Salamun hiya hatta matla'il fajr. Salamun. Now I see an ism which is in Rafa. This is a Rafa ism. So when I see a Rafa ism, there is no reason for me to connect it to the previous sentence. I just can't connect it to the previous sentence. What's my reason to connect it? There's no reason because the Tanazuru already found a file, so I just don't need another file. It's all done, and the previous sentences are all complete. So there's no context from the behind that should make it Rafa, basically. So it's Rafa by nature. Let me put it that way. It's Rafa by nature because the words, the isms are by default Rafa until they have a reason to become Nasab or Jar. Okay? So because it's Rafa, I know that when I see an ism in Rafa, it is a Muqtada. I know that from my Jumla Ismiya, from the Mubtada. It's a Mubtada. So because it's a Mubtada, it is the beginning of the Jumla Ismiya. It is beginning of the Jumla Ismiya, inshallah. And after the Mubtada, we have an invisible is. Then comes here, Salamun. Peace is. Peace, safety, peace is. Here is an independent pronoun. You all know that. Okay. Here is an independent pronoun. And the default status of independent pronoun is what? Every independent pronoun is by default Rafa. So Rafa. Every independent pronoun is by default Rafa. And when a Rafa comes after the Mubtada, what does it mean? It becomes a khabar. It's a khabar for this Jumla Ismiya. It's a khabar for Salamun. Okay? It's a khabar for Salamun. Safety is it. Safety is it. Here is sometimes translated as it as well. So does the huwa sometimes attached pronoun, because it depends what it is referring to. So right now we're referring to the night. Night is a non-human. Night is a non-human. You would probably not call it she. You probably call it it. Okay. Salamun here. Hatta matla al-fajr. Now, hatta we know is a harf of jar, and that's my reason to call matla'i jar. So this thing is jar majroor. Hatta matla'i is jar majroor. Okay, and matla'i is light. It's light, and it is followed by jar. So my reason to call this part an idafa. It is idafa. Okay. So this was harf of jar, and this was idafa. So because there is a connection, again, just like before, hatta connected to matla'i, matla'i connected to al-fajri. So there's a connection. I can't break that connection. So I pick the entire bit, and call it what? When you have a jar majroor in a jumla ismiya, when you have a jar majroor in a jumla ismiya, what is that? It is muta'alliq bil khabar. This is related to this khabar. Okay? Okay, you understand? Alhamdulillah. That's good, mashallah. Excellent. So think about this surah. So salamun hiya hatta matla al-fajr. Peace is in it. Peace is it. It is a peace. It is a peaceful night until the fajr time. Until the dawn breaks. Matla al-fajr. Until the fajr time. Okay? So that's the overall story of Laylatul Qadr. When you recite this surah next time, think about it. Let's do a quick recitation today. Inna anzalnahu fi Laylatul Qadr. Certainly we sent it down in the night of power. Okay? Vama adraka ma Laylatul Qadr. And what do you know? What is Laylatul Qadr? You do not know what is Laylatul Qadr. Okay? Laylatul Qadri khayrun min alfi shahr. The night of power is better than thousands of months. Now Allah is telling us what it is. Okay? Tanazzalu malaikatu warruh. The angels and the souls descend in it. The angels and souls descend in it. Tanazzalul malaikatu warruhu fiha. Angels and soul descends in it. Bi izni rabbihim, with permission of their master. Min kulli amrin, for all matters. Kulli is a special mudaf. Kulli is a special mudaf. You remember? It's in your table. It's a special mudaf. Okay? It will not give you an off meaning. Min kulli amrin, for all matters, issues. deeds, however you want to translate Amr. Okay? So angels and souls descend in it with the permission of Allah for all matters. Okay? Salamun hiya hatta matla'il fajr. It is peace until the fajr, until the dawn breaks. Okay? So Allah is telling it about the night, inshallah. So next time you recite this surah, please keep all of this in mind now that you have a good understanding of how it is structured. It's a beautiful surah, I'm sure. Good, mashallah. Let's jump into the next one. What Duha? Surah Duha. So from my perspective, from my understanding, you probably will have found elements in Surah Duha a bit more challenging compared to the other surahs that you have done, because it has some words that are probably not that easy to understand in terms of what they are, and that's absolutely fine. And I don't expect you to give me perfect answers of this surah as well. So there are things in this surah which are advanced, which you have not done in your level 1, and the reason to give this surah to you was effectively to see how you take it, because effectively if you can't apply your concept, then you have to go back and listen to the recording if you can, even if you're doing it differently or it's not exactly the right answer. That's fine, but you are actually thinking about it. So it was intentionally given to you guys to make sure that you are able to open up your mind that what we have done so far is a journey that we have started, and there's a way to go, inshallah, going forward. So let's start with this surah, inshallah. It's a very beautiful surah, and I want to give you some context before we start this surah. So the context of this surah, let me stop sharing my screen, because I want to give you this context a little bit of this surah. I think when you have this context, then you will be able to really appreciate the beauty of this surah more than just understanding this surah without having that context. So what I did recently was I just dove into the tafsir that I had, and I read about it, and I was quite intrigued, and I was quite appreciative of the fact, the value of the surah that it brought to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's life. So when Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was given the Quran for the first time, Iqra bismi rabbikal ladzi khalaq, and so on, few very, very high level, inshallah. I'm not the one who would give you tafsir. I'm just giving you the context, the shan-e-nuzul, why this surah was revealed. That's it. And inshallah, more you can study in the tafsir yourself, or with the proper tafsir scholar. I'm not a proper tafsir scholar, so I just don't want to tell you too many details on that. So what I have learned is, so when the Quran was revealed to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, few bits were revealed in the beginning, but after the initial revelations, there was a big gap. There was a gap in the revelation. So for a long time, no new revelation came, no new wahi came to him, and because he had already pronounced himself as a Rasul of Allah, people started to talk. People said, "Okay, what's happening? You said you were the prophet, but now you don't have anything from your master. Has your master left you? What's happening?" Okay, so people started talking about it, and he was very concerned about it. That what's happening? Is Allah not happy with me? Have I done something wrong? After all, he's a human being, and he's trying to understand what's happening, and he's very worried about the fact that after so much revelation that happened, all of a sudden it has stopped. Has something gone wrong? Okay, so that concern was quite heavily inside him, and to just wipe off that concern, to make him feel at ease, Allah revealed Surah Duha. And Allah, what Allah talks about in Surah Duha is also very beautiful. And inshallah, we'll do it now. So when we do this surah, just keep that in mind, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is concerned that the wahi which is coming to him has stopped for a long time now. What is happening? He's quite unsure what's happening, and he needs Allah to tell him that if he's happy with him, is there anything which is wrong? Why is no wahi coming in? What should he do? And so on. So that concern is living in him, and he's quite concerned about that. And Allah is answering that concern in Surah Duha. Okay, it's a beautiful surah. Inshallah, when I'll explain that to you, I hope you will be able to appreciate the surah. So let me close my video. Probably you want to see Surah Duha more than you want to see me. So I'll close my video and I'll share my screen again, and inshallah ta'ala, we'll kick off with the Surah Duha. So keeping all that context in mind, let's start. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wad-Duha. Now Duha is the dawn, the brightness, the dawn brightness. So the one that you have really in the morning, that brightness is Duha. Okay, the dawn is Duha. What Duha? And Allah is saying what Duha, and I don't know what is this what Duha from grammatical perspective. So I say, okay, Waw is a connector. I assume Waw is a connector. Okay, so let's assume Waw is a connector. Okay. Now, if Waw is a connector, it should be connecting to something. Okay. On the left-hand side, it is connecting to Duha, understand? But what is it connecting to in the left side? Oh, sorry, on the right side. Okay. So the purpose of the connector is to connect two things together. Two sentences, two words, two fragments, but it has to connect something together. But it's not connecting anything on the right hand side. What is here? There's nothing here. There's nothing here. So I can't say it's a connector because it's not connecting. It's just not connecting. So the other possibility I have is I assume, okay, Waw is not a connector. It is a harf of jar. It is a harf of jar. When I say harf of jar, it becomes an oath. It becomes an oath. Okay? And Allah seems to be taking oath by the brightness of the morning, by the dawn, by the brightness of the morning. And I don't see it's in jar because Ad-Duha is an ism which is inflexible. How do I know it's an ism, and how do I know it's inflexible? I know it's an ism because there is an al attached to it. Okay, it's an indicator of an ism. I know it's inflexible because it ends with alif maksura. Okay, it's inflexible, meaning it will not tell me the status, and I have to derive the status from the context. So what I do here is, okay, I know oath, Waw is harf of jar, so this Ad-Duha has to be jar. It has to be jar. Okay, if it could be, it is. Okay, so this is a full-blown harf of jar fragment. It's a harf of jar fragment. What Duha? By the brightness of the morning. Okay, Allah is taking oath. Now he's responding back. He's responding to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's concern. Keep that in mind. Okay, so what Duha? By the brightness of the day. Wal-layli. Then he says Wal-layli. Now I immediately see. I'm looking at Wal-layli only. Okay, I immediately see this layli is in jar status. So I don't even have to think, what is this Waw really? Because there's also an al attached here. It's an ism. It's an ism because of an al. It's jar, and it's jar because of the Waw. It's jar majroor. It's a harf of jar fragment. It's another oath because it's harf of jar. Waw is an oath. Yes, you with me? Waw has to be an oath. So Allah says, by what Duha, by the morning, the brightness of the morning, or the dawn, and by the night. and by the night. And Allah is taking two oaths here. By the night. Okay, you with me? Iza saja. Now, iza is a harf. It's a harf. And it means when. It's a harf and it means when. I believe we have very briefly touched it in the level 1, because it's not something very big. It's a very small topic, and that's really that's all what you need to know. It's a harf and it means when. Okay. Wal-layli is a saja. Now saja is confusing. So what I would do if I was you, I would immediately start mapping saja to isms like, for example, Musa, Isa. Okay, Musa and Isa, so things like that. I would say, okay, fine, it follows the same pattern, so probably it's an ism which is an inflexible ism. Okay, and I would say, now keep in mind, I'm thinking the way a student would potentially think. Okay, so I'll map it to Musa or Isa, say, okay, it looks the same, fine, but it's an inflexible ism, and there is no reason for me to call it jar because there is no harf of jar before it. There is no reason to call it nasab because there is no harf of nasab before it, and there is no fail that makes it its maf'ul. So I can easily say it's rafa. So you could have, some of you, if not all, some of you could have labeled it as an ism in rafa status. As an ism in rafa status. If this is what you have done, and this has been your thought process or something similar, it's okay, because that's what you know today. Okay? But now I'm going to give you the real answer. Okay? It is, this word saja is not an ism. It's not an ism. It is a past tense fi'il. It's a past tense fi'il. It's like nasara, saja, nasara. You can't map it that easily today, perhaps, because it is not telling you the last haraka. It is inflexible. It's not like nasara, where there was a fatha on the ra. It is saja, and this is an advanced fi'il that has a vowel in it. Okay, that has a vowel in it. So this is advanced surf problem that you will inshallah do later on in your study. So you have to take it as a fail today, as a past tense fail, and it's a huwa version. It's a huwa version. Okay, the past tense fail and a huwa version with a hidden file. Okay, so in itself is a jumla fi'liya. Independent jumla fi'liya, past tense. And what it means is when it gets dark, when it starts to get dark, or when it darkens, okay, when it darkens. So Allah is taking oath, what duha, by the brightness of the morning, by the dawn, wal layli, by the night, iza saja, when it gets dark, when it starts to get dark, when it darkens. Okay, these are the two oaths Allah is taking here. Okay, then comes the next ayah, inshallah. The next ayah, ma wadda'aka, ma wadda'aka. Now, first I'll try to solve this the way probably you have addressed this. Then we'll see what exactly is the true Arabs of this ayah. Ma. So you know ma. You when you saw ma, for example, you said, okay, it's ism mawsul. It's ism mawsul that translates to whatever. That's what we know. Okay? Translates to whatever. Ma. Wadda'a. Wadda'a is a fi'il like nasara. It looks like a past tense fi'il. Nasara. Ma wadda'a. So I'm going to say it's a past fi'il And I'm going to say it has a hidden pronoun huwa. It maps to nasara, ma watta'a. And ka is the attached pronoun to the fi'l. It's a pronoun, okay? Attached pronoun to the fi'l. Now I have found the fi'l, I have found the file. File is huwa. Ka would be nasab. Ka would be nasab, so it becomes maf'ul. Okay? It becomes maf'ul. So whenever the attached pronoun is attached to a fi'l, it is nasab. And the detail in the jumla fi'liya, because it starts the jumla fi'liya. Don't forget that. It starts the jumla fi'liya. Okay? The detail is maf'ul. Okay? So you saw ma, which is ism mawsul, and you saw wadda'aka. Wadda'aka. And you said it's a past tense fi'il, and it has huwa inside it, and the ka is the attached pronoun. Okay? So the ka is the maf'ul, wadda'a is the past tense fi'il with huwa. Okay? It is the beginning of jumla fi'liya, and it becomes the sila for the ma. It's the sila. You remember? The ism mawsul has the sila. Ism mawsul gives you an incomplete meaning that is completed by the sila. Okay? That is completed by the sila. So whatever wadda'aka, wadda means forsaken, to forsake. Okay? To forsake, to take for granted. Take for granted, to forsake. Okay? Ma wadda'aka. Okay? And then you move forward and you found rabbu, rabbuka. Rabbuka, you immediately see, you say, okay, it's an idafa because Rabbu is light, no al and followed by jar. It's an attached pronoun, which is jar. It's an idafa. I understand. But why is Rabbu Rafa? It is coming after a fail. Why is it Rafa? If it was a detail, it has to be Nasab. It is Rafa because we found the fail in the Huwa version. And whenever you find the fail in the Huwa or Hiya version, always look for an outside doer. So it's an outside doer for Watta'a. It's an outside doer for Watta'a. But is it only Rabbu which is outside doer for Watta'a? No, it is the full fragment because you can't disconnect them. It's Rabbuka. It's a full fragment that is the outside doer. This is the file. File for wadda'aka. Okay, now we know this is a full jumla fi'liya starting from wadda'a all the way going to rabbuka, and in after that I'm getting a wow, which is a connector. Okay, which is a connector. So I stop here. Okay? I stop here and say, okay, fine. Now ma was the ism mawsul, and wadda'aka rabbuka is my sila. Is my sila. Okay, because there's a break in the chain. Sila normally ends when there's a break in the chain. Okay, okay, so we have done that in the last class in the level 1 when we did the ism mawsuls, inshallah. So that's how you may have approached it, which is correct from what you know. Absolutely fine. The only thing I need to tell you here is ma is not always an ism mawsul. If you have done this, if you have done this approach that we have just done, you've done absolutely right from based on what you know today. Okay, so your answer is correct. You have the correct thought process. You have done everything perfect. So very well done. But now I'm telling you a new piece of information. Ma is not always an ism mawsul. Ma has other roles to play. We will do that inshallah, probably in this course. Yes, inshallah. Ma has other roles to play. Sometimes ma is used for negation, to negate things. Okay? To negate things. Okay? So this is one of the examples where ma is not an ism mawsul. This is one of the examples where ma is not an ism mawsul. So what I have to do is I have to cut this part. Ism mawsul. It's not ism mawsul here. Okay? Here, ma is in fact used as negation. It's a negation ma. Now let me try to explain you why does this make sense. Okay? Why does it make sense? Now, what we know from Ism Mawsul study, ma means whatever. I'm telling you what da'a is to forsake. Okay? And we know Rabbuka is the outside doer. It's the outside doer. Okay? Now, if we try to translate it using the whatever meaning, whatever your master, always translate the outside doer first. Always translate the doer first. Okay? So to get to the translation fairly quickly, and get to the closer translation to quickly, you should always translate the file first. Whatever your master. So I'm going to translate ma first. Whatever. Then I'm going to translate the file. Your master. Vadda'aka. Then I'm going to translate the action. Forsaken. Forsaken. And then I'm going to translate the file. You. Whatever your master forsaken you. Do you think it makes sense? The translation makes sense. Or can you make a sense out of it? Whatever your master forsaken you. Think about it. I'll give you 30 seconds to think about it. Whatever your master forsaken you. What da'aka means to take granted, forsake, and it's a past tense, so he forsaken, and then there's a file which is rabbuka. Think about it. Whatever your master forsaken you. If you ask me, it doesn't really make sense. Okay, it doesn't make sense. Translation will help you in understanding if the ma used is a mawsul ma, or it's some other kind of ma. This is, I'm telling you, a negation ma. Now let's try to do a negation translation. Your master has not forsaken you. Your master has not forsaken you. What do you think about this translation? Your master has not forsaken you. Makes sense? I hope so. Yeah, it makes much more sense because it's a negation ma. So Allah is telling Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam after taking the oath, "Wad-duha wal-layli iza saja," by the brightness of the day and by the night when it gets dark, your master has not forsaken you. He's not taking you for granted. He's not taking you for granted. Okay? He has not forsaken you. That's subhanAllah, so beautiful. Allah is responding back to the concern of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Think about it. Okay? You're gonna love it. So this ma is a not ma. Just telling you now. Okay? But if you have done it with the ism mawsul mindset, that's absolutely fine because that's what you knew. Okay? But now I'm telling you there's another kind of ma which is ism mawsul, which is not really an ism mawsul. Okay? Which is a negation ma. Ma is also used for negation. Okay? And it's effectively refutation more than negation. Ma is more used for refutation. Refutation ma. Better to call it refutation ma than negation ma. It's refutation. To deny some fact, to deny something. So because there was a concern, is Allah not happy with me? Is Allah has forsaken me? There was a concern in his heart. So Allah is responding back, refuting that concern, saying, "Oh, your master has not forsaken you. Absolutely not. The master hasn't forsaken you." Okay, so this is a refutation mark. Moving forward, wama qala. Wama qala. Now, wow is a connector. Wow is a connector. This is a connector va. Okay, this is a connector va. And ma qala. Now again, you may have, your thought process may have gone this way, saying, okay, ma is ism mawsul, is ism mawsul, and qala is an inflexible ism in rafa. You could have done that potentially. Some of you may have done it. If you have done it, that's fine, because that's what you have learned so far and that's what you know. That's absolutely fine. But in reality, kala is like saja. It's like saja. It's a past tense. It's a past tense fi'il with the pronoun huwa, and it's an advanced concept. It's an advanced sarf. Irregular. It's an irregular sarf problem, which we'll study inshallah sometime in the future. So you could say that you could have done it that way. That ma is a mawsul and kala is the sila. You may have done it that way because that's probably you knew at that time. But now you also know ma is also refutation. Ma is also refutation. Kala means to be unpleased. To be unpleased. Now, if you translate ma as ism mawsul, this means you would translate it as whatever, and kala is unpleased. He is unpleased. Okay, so whatever he is unpleased with. Okay? So it would not make much sense in the overall context of the ayah. Your master has not your master has not forsaken you, and whatever he's unpleased. It doesn't make sense. But if I take it as a refutation ma, just like before, if I take it as a refutation ma, to deny something, and I say, your master has not forsaken you, and he is not unpleased. He's not unpleased. That makes for me much more sense. He's not unpleased. So Allah is responding to him. So this is again a refutation ma. Qala in itself is a jumla fi'liya with a hidden file, huwa, and it is refuting the fact that Allah and confirming to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Allah has not forsaken him. Your master has not forsaken him, and he's not unpleased. Okay, removing the doubts in his heart. You see that? وَلَلْ آخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. وَلَلْ آخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. Now, let's look at this. وَلَلْ آخِرَةُ. I could say va is a connector. I could say va is a connector. I'm saying it's a connector because the ism after it, al-akhiratu, al has, okay, let me put it differently. So it's a connector, and I'm saying it's a connector because the ism after it is not jar. It's rafa. So there's no brainer here. It's not a harf of jar. It's not an oath. Walal akhirati. Now Allah is talking about akhirah here, hereafter. This is akhirah and hereafter. But what is this lam doing? What is this lam? This is the lam of emphasis. Emphasis. So if akhiratu is hereafter, it's hereafter. Okay. And va is and lam is the emphasis, you would say and, for sure, or indeed, or certainly. Some way you put an emphasis because of the lam. And for sure, the hereafter, the afterlife, And because this is an ism, it is also a mubtada. It's also a mubtada at the same time, and it's the beginning of the jumla ismiya. And there's an invisible is after the mubtada. Okay, walal akhiratu, and for sure the hereafter, the hereafter is khayrun, khayrun, better. It's better. Hereafter is better. Okay, khayrun. This is rafa, and this is the jumla ismiya. So this becomes the khabar of jumla ismiya because khabar is rafa. Khabar of al-akhiratu. Okay. Walal akhiratu khayrun laka. What is laka? It's easy, isn't it? It's harf of jar fragment. It's a harf of jar fragment. Okay. Lam is the harf of jar, ka is the attached pronoun, and it is the harf of jar fragment. Because it's a harf of jar fragment, in the jumla ismiya, it becomes what? It becomes muta'alliq bil khabar, related to the khabar. Related to the khabar. Now, read it again. And certainly the hereafter is better for you. Better for you. Minal ula. Now, do we know min? What is min? Min. Bata kaf lam waw. Min fi an. It's a harf of jar. Min usually is translated as from. From. Okay? From. But when you translate it in English, to give a message of the ayah, sometimes you just can't use from because that's not how English works. We'll see an example here. Al-ula is the one before. Is the one before, earlier one. Earlier one. It's an ism. There is an al to it, and it's an inflexible ism with alif maksura in the end. It will not tell the status. It means the one before, the earlier one. Okay, so we can say, because it is coming after the harf of jar, it is jar, and this entire thing is harf of jar fragment. Because it's a harf of jar fragment, it is the muta'alliq bil khabar again. It is the muta'alliq bil khabar again. Okay, it's a muta'alliq bil khabar again. Min al ula. Now, walal akhiratu, and certainly the hereafter is better for you from the one before, from the earlier. Now, if you translate this min as from, it is right English, but not really the best English. If I rather translate it as then here, given the context of the ayah, THAN, then. And the hereafter is better for you than the earlier one. So Allah is talking about the life and telling Rasulullah that the hereafter is better for you than the life you have today. Okay? Than what you have today. Okay? وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. Okay, this is, you understand, the mubtada, there is a khabar, and there are two muta'alliq bil khabars. Wala sawfa. Again, wala sawfa. Now, wa is a connector. I know wa is a connector because there's no ism after it, which is jar. There's no ism after it, which is jar. Wala sawfa. Now, again, there is a la and sawfa are two words. La is the lam of emphasis. This is emphasis. And sawfa, we did very briefly in the level 1 that in present tense, because the present tense is used to represent the present and the future, and there are two ways to push the meaning of a present tense in the future explicitly. One is to attach a scene, just the scene, in addition, in front of the present tense. For example, yansuru would become sa yansuru. Okay, that means yansuru means he helps, and sa yansuru will mean he will help. Okay, pushes the meaning in the future. Another way of doing it is to attach sofa before the fail. Attach sofa before the fail. It's just a harf It's an harf that pushes the meaning in the future. Pushes the meaning, if you can read my Chinese, in future. Okay. Okay. Sofa is a harf that pushes the meaning of a present tense in the future. And for sure, and now there's a present tense that we're expecting after sofa that should be pushed in the future. Yu'ti, yu'tika, yu'tika. Now, yu'tika is two words. This is a present tense fi'il, with a hidden pronoun huwa, yu'ti, yu'ti. Ka is an attached pronoun which is in nasab status. This is nasab, and therefore a maf'ul. It's a maf'ul. Okay. Yu'ti is a present tense with huwa. So the hidden pronoun is huwa. Yu'tiya. Okay. Like nasara. Okay. Yu'ti means ata. It comes from the word ata yu'ti. It comes. It means to give, to grant, to give. And for sure, soon he will give you. He will give you. So remember how we translated the attached pronouns with the fi'il? We separate the two words, we translate the fi'il, we translate the attached pronoun, and we bring them together. Yes, we translate yu'ti, which becomes he gives or he grants, and ka becomes you, he grants you. But then we have sofa, so we have to push a meaning in the future. We'll say he will give you, he will give you, and then we have to push an emphasis to it because of the lam. He will certainly give you, he will certainly give you, or soon he will certainly give you, however you want to put it in an English sentence. Okay. Wala sawfa yu'tika rabbuka. But we have also found rabbu, which is rafa. We found rabbu, which is rafa. This is rafa, and rafa coming after a fail, and the fail is in huwa. So rabbuka, we know it's an idafa, lights no al, followed by jar, and this entire fragment becomes the file outside doer, because yu'ti is huwa. Yu'ti is huwa. So now if we take it, we translate the file first, then we translate the fi'il first, then we translate the mafuls, and we have to translate all of these harfs. So how we go about is and certainly, soon, your master will give you. That's the sequence I followed. Okay, that's the sequence I followed. Okay, and certainly, soon, your master will give you. Fatarda. Now, fa is a connector, meaning then or so, and sometimes also used as and. Okay. Fatarda. Tarda again is a past tense fi'il. It's a past tense fi'il that you have not done. It's an advanced fi'il. You may have seen it as an ism, which is inflexible, which is absolutely fine. But it starts with a ta, you see. It starts with a ta and ends with something that you don't know. Okay, it's a present tense fi'il. Sorry, not past tense. I'm writing it wrong. So it's a present tense fi'il. Present tense fi'il with a hidden pronoun huwa. Fatarda. Not huwa, sorry, anta. It starts with a ta. Anta. Okay? Anta. Starts with a ta and with a u, like tansuru, right? Because it's a alif maksura, you don't see that. It's an advanced surf. So we'll inshallah do that later on sometime. So, and it means to be content, to be pleased, to be satisfied, to be satisfied. Okay? Fatarda. So if you translate this, and soon your master will give you, and soon your master will give you, so so you are satisfied. So you are satisfied. Okay? So it's all coming from the context previously. It's all coming from the previous context. Okay? Remember the previous context? Allah is talking about the hereafter, and that is better than what you have today. And then Allah is saying, Allah will soon give it to you, so you are satisfied. So Allah is returning back to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, trying to overcome his concerns and trying to and assuring to him that he is still there with you. Don't worry. Okay. Now, so far we have done this. Quick recap. What duha, and by the dawn break, by the break of dawn, by the morning, brightness of morning. Okay. Wal layli iza saja. What duha wal layli iza saja, and by the night when it becomes dark, when it goes dark. What? Ma wadda'aka rabbuka wa ma qala. Your master has not forsaken you. Okay. And he's not unpleased with you. He's not unpleased with you. Okay. Very high level translation. Walal akhiratu khairun laka minal ula. And for sure, the hereafter is better for you than what you have before. Okay? Than whatever is there before. Okay? Wala sawfa yu'tika rabbuka fatarda. And soon, certainly, your master will give it to you, so you are satisfied. Okay? So Allah is talking to Rasulullah, and now He's going to give you He's going to give him some examples to just make him a bit more satisfied. Okay, just like when you talk to your friends and your friend comes to you, if someone comes to you and say, okay, can you give me a loan, let's say £5 or £10, and he wants to convince you that, oh, I will definitely return it to you, right? So what you would do is you say, okay, he will come to you and say, can you give me 10 quid? I will return to you very soon, definitely. Remember, just like I returned to you 2 months back? And then he would give you those examples to reassure his message, isn't it? Don't you remember when I returned to you your 20 quid, and then before that I bought you a pack of milk when you asked me to, and just to ensure that you understand that I am reliable. You can rely on me. Trust me. You have to rely on me. I've not forgotten you. I've not forsaken you, and I'm gonna come back to you. Okay. So Allah established that context and given Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that peace of mind, and now he's picking up some examples, to make him even more content. And those examples are picked up in a question form. So didn't I do this and didn't I do that? That kind of tone. Okay. So then you see alam. So alam, lam is the lightest harf. It's the lightest harf, meaning did not. Okay, and is a question. It's a question word. When you want to make something a question, you put hamza before it. Okay, alam, and then you move forward. You find yajid. Now yajid comes from yajidu. Wajada yajidu. Yajidu means to find. It's a present tense fail starting with a ya, normally ends with u, like yansuru. Okay, but because there is a lam to it, it becomes light. Lightest. Because there is a lam to it, it becomes lightest, but it still is a present tense fail. So it's present tense. Okay, present tense fail. Present tense fail, huwa version, like yansuru, alam yajidka. Ka is attached pronoun in nasab, and it's a maf'ul, okay? Because it's an attached pronoun in nasab here, okay? Alam yajidka. Now yajid means to find. Yajidu means to find. He finds. He finds. Okay? Then Allah is questioning Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I didn't I find you? Okay? Didn't I find you? Okay? Now let's establish this context going forward and make it more clear. Okay? You would not say I because there's a huwa. Didn't he find you? That's the kind of tone you're gonna use. So didn't he find you? Didn't he find you? But find you as what? Now you need some clarification. You need further detail to it. So this bit would be like, didn't he find you? Okay, because um, uh, the didn't element is coming from lam, find element is coming from yajid, ka coming for you, and question mark is coming with a hamza in the beginning. Didn't he find you as what? As what? Yatiman. Yatiman. Didn't he find you as an orphan? As an orphan. It's a detail, nasab. It's a maf'ul to the fi'l yajidu. It's a maf'ul to the fi'l yajidu. Okay? Didn't he find you as an orphan? We will do this inshallah concept later on. This is called tamyiz, when you have to clarify something which is not clear. Use tamyiz to clarify something. So if I just stop by saying alam yajidka, didn't he find you? You don't know what thing we are supposed to find. There is ambiguity, there's no clarity here. And yatiman comes in and clarifies what we're talking about. Such isms are called tamyiz. These are isms which are tamyiz, that clarify things, what's happening. They clarify the ambiguity around it. So, alam yajidka yatiman, didn't he find you as an orphan? Fa'awa. Fa is connector, as you know. Then awa is again a past advanced surf, past tense, fi'il huwa, that means to rescue. Rescue, protect, whatever you want to translate that makes sense here. Okay, rescue, protect. Didn't he find you as an orphan, then protected? Then he protected you? Then Allah is questioning, putting forward a question to reassure Rasulullah that don't worry, just like I protected you when you were an orphan, you were born an orphan, and I protected you. First, I protected you through your uncle, then I protected you through your first I protected you through your grandfather, then your uncle, and then later on I kept on protecting you all throughout your life. And you were orphan, you never saw your father, but still I protected you. That kind of reassurance Allah is trying to give to Rasulullah. Didn't he protect you? Didn't he find you as an orphan and he protected you? Okay. On the same pattern, same thing in the next ayah. Almost the same thing. وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًّا فَهَدَى. وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًّا فَهَدَى. Now, wa is a connector. This is a connector. Okay. Wajada is a past tense form of the fi'l to find. It's like nasara. It's a past tense fi'l with huwa version, and ka is the attached pronoun which becomes a maf'ul. Okay, and he found you, and he found you. This part, and he found you. He found you as what? First, he said, previous ayah, he's saying, didn't he find you as an orphan? Now he's talking about something else. He's saying, and he found you, but as what? Dallan. Dallan is again nasab, which is also a maf'ul and means lost. Didn't he found you lost? Then fa is then hada. Hada is a past tense fi'l with huwa means to guide. It's hada yahdi. It's like ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. You read that, right? Ihdina. That comes from the same root. Ihdina. Hada yahdi. He guided. It means he guided. He guided. Now, Allah is asking these questions. Now, see it in the context. First, He says, didn't He find you as an orphan and protected you? And He found you lost and then guided you. Then He guided you. Okay? And next ayah. Next ayah. And again a connector. Again the same pattern, which is the past tense fi'il. Jumla is Jumla fi'liya with the huwa form. Yes, you see that? Nasara. Again the same attached pronoun, which is maf'ul. Then Allah is again saying, and He found you, but found you as what? Ilan. Nasab. Again maf'ul for this fi'il. Okay? Ilan means poor, needy. Poor, needy. Needy. Poor. Okay? And He found you. Sorry, I dropped my pen. So, and He found you as poor. He found you as poor. Then aghna. Aghna is again a past tense fi'il. Past tense fi'il. Huwa version means He made you self-sufficient. He made you self-sufficient. Now he's referring to the fact that Rasulullah became he grew old. He grew old and he married Hazrat Khadija alayhi salam, and he got all that wealth to support his life and his purpose and his objective. And Allah made him ghani. He made him self-sufficient in his own right, in spite of the fact he had so many challenges in his life since the day of his birth. And Allah is saying, and He found you as poor, then He made you self-sufficient. Then He made you self-sufficient. So Allah is giving three examples, asking three questions to Rasulullah. Didn't he find you as an orphan and He rescued you? And He found you as lost and then He guided you? And He found you as poor and He made you self-sufficient? In the overall context of the surah, this is so beautiful. So first Allah is reassuring that that I have not forsaken you, and I'm not unpleased with you, and then the hereafter is better for you than what you have before it, and I will soon give it to you. And then to reassure, didn't I find you as an orphan and guided you? And didn't He find you as lost and sorry? Didn't He find you as orphan and protected you? And then didn't He find you as lost and guided you? And didn't He find you as poor and made you self-sufficient? This is all reassuring, okay? And then giving some messages, some guidance, in the end. فَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ. Now Allah has established that that Rasulullah, he has reminded Rasulullah that you were an orphan and I protected you. Okay, you were lost and I guided you, and you were poor and I made you self-sufficient. Okay, He reminded all of that, and after reminding all of that, Allah is saying, "Amma." By the way, so then amma is a harf, usually translated as for. And as for the yatim, al-yatima, or you could call it like, by the way, for the orphans, like, because we're talking about the orphans, so Allah is switching a subject and giving a quick guidance, a quick note. Okay, so for amma, and then, so for, it also translates that. So as for the yatim, al-yatima, this is an ism, right? Nasab. Ism in nasab. So for the yatim, fala, then This is a connector. Then, so for the theme, then la taqhar, la taqhar, qahara yaqharu. This means to oppress, to oppress. Okay, so this is a forbidding statement. You remember commanding and forbidding? You make the fi'l lightest. You make it as a first step. You make it as second person, which is anta, and then you make it lightest, and then you attach a la before it. Remember that process from the previous course to make things lightest? This is a forbidding statement. La taqhar. Okay, so this is forbidding. Okay, then as for the orphan, so do not oppress him. Do not oppress. It's a forbidding statement. Don't oppress. So while we're talking about orphans, Allah is giving a message. Okay, and by the way, the orphans, don't oppress. Don't oppress them. Don't oppress them. Okay. فَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ. Same pattern going forward. وَأَمَّا and amma, as for as-sa'ila. As-sa'ila is an ism, means the questioner. Questioner. Okay? Someone who begs, who asks you for something, or begs, or someone asking something from you. Okay? And as for the sa'ila, as for the questioner, then fa is again then la tanhar, again a forbidding statement. Forbidding statement. Tanhar means to repel, or to really be rude and repel someone. So if someone asks you something, if someone begs for you, if someone asks you for help, do not just repel. Don't repel. Okay? Don't repel. Allah is giving a forbidding statement. These are the lessons Allah is giving. Allah is reminding Rasulullah that you were an orphan, I protected you. So by the way, you should not oppress the orphan. You were poor, and I made you self-sufficient. By the way, if someone asks you for help, don't repel. Don't repel. Okay? This forbidding statement is in itself a jumla fi'liya. Okay? Because it's a fail. You understand? You with me? Good. فَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ وَأَمَّا السَّائِلَ فَلَا تَنْهَرْ. وَأَمَّا, again, same pattern. And amma, as for, by the way, بِنِعْمَتِكَ بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ. بِنِعْمَةِ is a jar majroor, harf of jar, because there's bi and ni'mati. Okay? This bi is harf of jar, it makes ni'mati jar. Rabbika is idafa, Rabbi is light, no al followed by jar, it's an idafa. Okay? And there's a relationship between Rabbi and ni'mati. There's a relationship between Rabbi and ni'mati. Ni'mati is light, no al followed by jar. This is another idafa. This is another idafa. Okay? This is another idafa. And by the way, with the blessings of, there's an off here, there's an off here, and there's an off here. Okay? And by the way, about the blessings of your master. By the way, about the blessings of your master, then fa is again connector. Haddis. Haddis. Okay? Haddasa yuhaddisu. Haddis is a command. It's a command. Narrate. 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 Go tell. Tell. Okay? Go tell. Allah is commanding. And by the way, about the blessings, about the ni'mas, about the blessings of your master, then go tell. Tell people about it. Tell everyone about it. So let's giving that command here. فَحَدِّثْ وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. So I hope you all remember how this command comes into existence. You remember that? So this is a fail amr. This is a fail amr, which is the commanding fail. It's present tense, and it is anta, because command only happens in the second person. You see that? Okay. So just to quickly help you understand this. So the fail was حدث يحدث حدث يحدث. This was the fail. Okay. So what you effectively did, the commanding process was you first make it second person. Okay. يحدث. Make it second person. Wait a second. Okay. Make it second person. تحدث. And then as a next step, you make it lightest. How do I make it lightest? تحدث. This becomes تحدث. And then I remove the ta, it becomes حدث. حدث. Okay. And another way of writing حدث with the shadda is this. Either you put the kasra below the shadda, or you could put the kasra below the dal. It's exactly the same. حدث. حدث. Remember this? This was the process of making a command, and then you want to attach a pronoun to it, not pronoun, sorry, a harf to it. Then you attach a fail. فحدث. So then narrate. Okay. That's what's happening here. Okay. فحدث. Good. Alhamdulillah, we have done the entire Ad-Duha. So quick summary in 1 minute or so, and then we inshallah close the class. I know it's been quite a lot today, so we still have 3 minutes. So quick summary, just to give you the overall picture of the surah again, so you get completely stoned in your brain. So Allah is responding to Rasulullah about his concern, and he's saying, "What duha? By the brightness of the day, of the dawn. وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى." And by the night, when it becomes dark, when it darkens. Okay. مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. Your master has not forsaken you, and he is not displeased, and he's not displeased with you. Okay. وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. And certainly the hereafter is better for you than before, okay? Than what you have currently before. وَلَسَوْفَ يُعْطِيكَ رَبُّكَ فَتَرْضَى. And soon for sure, the master will give it to you, will give you فَتَرْضَى, then, so you are satisfied. Okay? So you are satisfied, so you're content. أَلَمْ يَجِدْكَ يَتِيمًا فَأَهْوَى. Didn't he find you as an orphan and protected you, rescued you? وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًّا فَهَدَى. And he found you as lost, then guided you. Then he guided you. وَوَجَدَكَ عَائِلًا فَأَغْنَى. And he found you as poor and made you self-sufficient. فَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ. And so, by the way, as for the yatim, then do not oppress him. And do not oppress the orphan. As for the orphan, do not oppress. وَأَمَّا السَّائِلَ فَلَا تَنْهَرْ. And As for the questioner, then do not repel. Do not repel. Okay? وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. And as for the blessings of your master, then go tell. Then go tell and narrate. SubhanAllah. This is such a beautiful surah, and it becomes even more beautiful when you know the context of the surah, and when you are already when you know exactly why it was revealed, that then it becomes even more beautiful. So I hope this session was useful and you found excitement in the word of Allah today, and you also understood what we discussed. Inshallah, from tomorrow we will discuss few new topics, and as now we have completed the project, and until then, I wish you all the very best. Stay safe, inshallah. If you're in the UK, if you're having a snow experience, please stay safe, drive safe, inshallah, and we will talk again tomorrow at the same time. So until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.